Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Real, taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Hope you guys are having a good Sunday. Happy Sunday to everybody. Welcome into The Real. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, and share. I'd really appreciate that. Everybody, hit the like button on the way in here. Let's get a little if I could talk, like rally going. But yeah, welcome into The Real. My man Humble's in the chat. What's up, Humble? Love you, brother. He said yes, sir. He said more life, more the real. Thankful for the real and the people who run this channel. Well, we're thankful for you, Humble. That means a lot to us. And without people like yourself, we got DFJ Hoops in the chat as well. Go subscribe to DFJ Hoops. All things Sixers, Philadelphia Philadelphia 76ers. Covers all things NBA as well. Go subscribe, my man DFJ Hoops. Great guy. Good to see you, brother. And he said the humble man. Yes, he is. Shout out to Humble. But we're thankful for you guys in the chat. And thankful for this show tonight. So I had a good day today. Celebrated somebody's life who, good man passed away and part of our family. And rest in peace to Terry. And thoughts, prayers to all the family and the Garing family. Love all you guys. Good to see all you guys today. And yeah, he was a big time Browns fan too. So this show tonight will be in memorial in honor of him. And started in the military as well. So salute to Terry. But yeah, let's get to the show tonight. Obviously about the Browns. Training camp starts obviously in a couple days, like the 22nd. So interesting show because I'm looking forward to previewing the Browns. It's gonna be an interesting year this year. Crazy the difference in expectations from last year with Deshaun Watson. Obviously, it was more about they have to win now because you paid that guy $230+ million, right? And they fired the whole offensive staff and tore everything out and built the whole team around Deshaun. Then we get out there last year, week one, an absolute dud week one against the Cowboys. And then here we come week after week to beat Jacksonville. And then after that, it was just bad decline. And obviously Deshaun wasn't right mentally to me. Confidence wasn't there. Just, I think the 2 years off and all the stuff, just he was not the same guy that we saw in Houston. And the team just wasn't as good either. A lot of holes. Offensive line was banged up, wasn't as good. The running game wasn't as good because they switched the whole scheme up and the personnel didn't match the scheme, in my opinion. And it was a whole mess last year. Defense wasn't as good. The DBs were getting burned a lot. And it was rough. And then JOK got hurt. So, we're coming off a pretty rough year, 3-win season. Overall, they had a pretty good draft, though, I thought. We got Mason Graham, got a first-round pick next year. Obviously, the Quinshon Judkins news isn't very good. Then from what I've heard, that behind the scenes, that I think he'll be out for a pretty good amount of time this year. At least 5 games, I was told. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I also ran into Cleveland beat reporter Terry Pluto this week, and shout out to Terry Pluto. Very nice guy. We were talking about it, and yeah, not a good situation. Hopefully that, well, you don't want to see these kinds of things. Obviously, it's unfortunate we see these kinds of things. So, but yeah, so obviously we'll all see the legal process play out. Quinshon Judkins obviously not even on the team right now, not even signed, and the Browns not letting him back into the facility until all this is cleared up. So I think that's the right move by the Browns, obviously. So, especially with this, how serious the allegations are, and it sounds pretty serious from some of the stuff I've heard too. So, but you guys have read some of it, allegedly just photos and stuff. So it's pretty unfortunate situation. So the Browns are obviously be without their running back, but overall a pretty good class, you think. And they brought back Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett now on the roster. Obviously drafted Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel to the quarterback room. The O-line seems to be healthier. But a lot of people though don't think this team's going to be that good this year, and so I know a lot of people think it's going to be another crappy year, and hopefully let's look forward to the draft next year, the 2 first-round picks, and hope one of these quarterbacks, can flourish. So we're going to get into it right now, but I couldn't talk about the Browns without the man of salt, the professional fan, the man, the myth, the legend, Sir Mike Lynn today. So Mike, what's happening?
Hello, beautiful people. Hello.
Hello.
How art thou this evening?
Very good. Very good. So I talked some Browns football, Mike.
Right.
You heard my opening statements there. I'll let you anything you want to speak on with the Judkins situation. Obviously, I hit on some of it. We'll get that out of the way if you want to go ahead.
Yeah.
I know you spoke on your show a little bit too, but go ahead.
Yeah, and my overall kind of position on it hasn't changed as far as the actual case goes. But if we're just talking football and the suspension, I was expecting as soon as the story came out, whether true or not true, guilty, not guilty, the NFL is at the end of the day a business and a company. So, I suspect that at my job or your job or anyone's job, if there are allegations of something like that happening, you are probably going to get, have a leave of absence, if you will. So I was expecting it didn't, and that doesn't matter what field you are in. So I was expecting 4 to plus game suspension as soon as the story broke, guilty or not guilty. And like you said, that's what it's sounding like. I'm expecting anywhere from 5 to 10 games. And, it sucks. Hopefully, I don't, if the allegations are true and the case is true, I don't want to use the word learning experience because that seems like it mitigates what happened, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But, yeah, it's unfortunate. And, I hope the situation gets figured out. But yeah, he's going to get suspended 5 to 10 games at least.
Yeah, at least 5 games from what I've heard. And, like I said on my show, we talked about it. It's unfortunate. And it's something I think a lot of people, I think going back to the high school level, it's where it starts, because I'm around it. I was around a lot of these premier high schools in the area here in Ohio, and I'm familiar with them. And, these guys, a lot of them, they get treated like gods back then. That's what the mindset starts. You put that stuff in the 15, 16, 17-year-old's head, get the college, now they get NIL money, then they get the NFL and they get that money, or they're the man now. A lot of guys don't know how to handle it, and they, a lot of them come from rough backgrounds as well. So that's not a good mix. If people know what I mean when I say that too, especially from those areas that you get a big head and a big ego and put yourself in bad situations, surround yourself with the wrong people, or just, whatever it is. Not talking about this situation in particular, but just in general, it's a bigger issue that needs to be addressed. But, it's not. I wish schools from high school on up, all up to the pros, would do a better job, Mike, at helping these guys out and showing them how not just to manage being a professional, but how to manage life. Because a lot of them don't. A lot of them really are they're just useful players on the field. They make people money, they win you games. That's what they're just, what I mean? They're just a lot of them viewed as numbers. So, but they're not really taught how to live life. Football is just a game, but a game is a game. What can you do in real life? How can you manage real life? And how can you, live in the everyday life? And a lot of people cannot. A lot of these guys, they're not prepared because they're viewed more as just items to help you win football games. And so this is something that's getting worse and worse. We've seen Mike in the NFL with these cases, unfortunately, and hopefully, the NFL will do something about it to try to stop it. Or no, you can't stop it, but to try to prevent it, and do a better job. But I, I don't know, man. I just it means something to me a little bit because of what I'm around these kids a lot in high school now, and just know some of them and help some of them, and it's just like. I see a lot of the problems and how this stuff's created. These people are these type of guys are created. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously this situation is alleged, but based on some of the stuff we've heard, it doesn't sound good. So yeah, so that's an unfortunate situation. But you got anything else on this, Mike, before we move on? Because obviously it's not the headline you want going into the season, but
no, not exactly. Nope.
especially one of your draft picks. Yeah. Humble says, I'm thankful, Mike, for all you do, the laughs, the grind, the heart. That's true. Some chase the crowds, but I just know the rarest gems are found by few. Woo, Humble dropping some gems.
Oh, thank you, Humble. I love you too, man.
He said,
Man, that's
definitely
so
said thanks to you,
nice.
man. He said, love you, brother. And
Love you too, brother.
shout out to our 330 fams in the house. He's our Akron brothers in the house. Yeah, Wally's in the house. What's up,
What's
Wally?
up, Wally?
Shout out to Wally. And shout out to Raul's in the house as well. Raul, I've seen some other chats going crazy recently. Uh, but shout out to Raul. I think I saw you on Coach JB show. But shout out to Coach JB. But Mike, let's get into it though, to the team itself. We'll start here, Mike, with the offense. Obviously, that's a big part of the season. Obviously, everyone knows the quarterbacks. Let's start with the running backs, though, Mike. Going off of what we just talked about, obviously now no Quinshon Judkins probably for bulk of the season at least.
Probably. At least
You're looking at, so we're back to Jerome Ford, who you drafted, obviously, still in the room, had some decent production at times. I know he's still got some growing to do as well. Then you also have your other draft pick, Dylan Sampson. I think, Mike, really the run game, I think it's all going to come down to the scheme, obviously, if they can get back to the old scheme. And if that O-line's healthy. Last year, that O-line was not healthy, and it showed at times. They were not healthy, and guys were out of shape as well. And you can't run the ball to bad O-line. It's just not going to happen. So, and I played O-line, so I totally get if you have a bad O-line, you are not running the ball. You're not throwing the ball. You're definitely not running the ball. And I feel like, Mike, if we can get back to just establishing the run first, like we did all those other years of Kevin Stefanski, which was his bread and butter, playing off of play action, I feel like Kevin Stefanski, Mike, can get back to his real roots in the system this year with a healthier O-line, and it will help out these quarterbacks. And obviously, you got Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford. Obviously, Judkins, you're hoping to be your bigger body, bell cow back, so at 6 foot, 225, can run like a deer. Without him now, you're leaning probably more on Jerome Ford, because Dylan Sampson, you can give him a lot of carries, SEC Offensive Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken, right? And not the biggest. What's his size? Is he 5? What is it? Do you know his size?
I think he's relatively tall. I think he's like 5'10", 5'11".
But
200 plus.
Yeah. Let me look him up. But I'm looking at these two guys, Mike. And I wouldn't be surprised if they signed another guy, maybe just for depth reasons. I think they're going to go in with 3 running backs if they have to. Obviously, if Judkins is suspended, that could be a thing. I don't know who's on the streets they could pick up. But, yeah, 5'8", 200 pounds. So 200 pounds, he can move. Obviously, he's kind of a scat back in a way, too. He can be a receiver at times. He's very versatile, Dylan Sampson. I know I'm probably higher on Jerome Ford than a lot of people. I watched Jerome Ford in college. He played with some of my former teammates at Cincinnati, so I watched him a lot down there, and he was a big reason why they went to playoffs. And very good back. When he gets the ball in his hands. I think the only thing Jerome really has to work on a lot more is just some of his cutback vision. But I think Jerome, when he gets the touches, though, he could be very productive. He's a guy that gets hot and could get rolling. And Stump Mitchell, shout out to Stump and him and his boy Ro Goldstein. They the friends online, so we'll try to get them on soon. Shout out to those guys, Stump Talk Podcast. But he Stump coached him. He goes, here, if you get that guy a lot of carries, he said, he'll get you 1,000 yards. And I think he can. He is a very talented back. I think last year, Mike, was probably just a rough year for everybody all around. His rookie year, he was a rookie, and then I think he produced pretty well towards the end of the year and helped that team out a lot, especially when Flacco took over. Remember that Jets game? He had a really nice night. And then I thought last year, it was just kind of up and down for everybody. It's hard for a second-year player, or any player really, in that situation last year, especially a running back with that bad of an O-line, all the quarterbacks, to really kind of establish yourself. But he did average 5 yards a carry last year on 100 less carries than he had the year before, but still had 5 yards a carry, which is what you're looking for in the NFL. That's pretty good, 5 or more. I think he'll be fine, Mike. I think him and Sampson can get the job done. Ultimately, though, it's going to come down to that O-line. If that O-line could stay healthy, if I could see DeJuan Jones be dominant again with the weight loss, obviously, just getting in better shape. I think better coaching with who's our offensive line coach? Just slipped my mind.
Mike Bloomberg.
Mike Bloomgren, excuse me. Coach Bloomgren, who's somebody I texted, knows him pretty well, said that he's a kick-ass coach. He's going to help that team really well and kind of hopefully get it back closer where it was with Bill Callahan. I think if they get that run game going, Mike, it's all going to come down to the line, like I said. But I think these two backs can get it done. And I think maybe if they add another back as well, I don't know who's on the market. But they have to run the ball a lot. this season, especially early on in the season, Mike. Get back to running the ball, taking time off the clock, helping out your defense, getting them more rest. I thought at times last year, Mike, our defense did not get a lot of rest because there was too many 3 and outs, and I feel like you saw that at times how gassed they looked,
Yeah.
and on the field too much. I would say more workload, higher the injury risk. We don't want that. So, your thoughts, Mike, though, on the running back room, just the running game in general.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's going to depend really on the offensive line and what we can get out of those guys. But going back to the wide zone scheme is going to help out these backs a lot. And in all honesty, Jerome Ford really never got like a fair shake in that system.
No.
So it'd be interesting to see how he does. I've always been high on Dylan Sampson. He was one of my favorite backs in the entire
Oh yeah,
class. I was
excellent
shocked.
college, excellent.
Yeah, I was shocked we were able to get Sampson and
But it was
Judkins.
such a deep running back class. I mean, any other year he probably been a second round pick, third round pick.
Yeah,
I mean,
second or third round guy any other year. I think Dylan Sampson has huge upside, and I think he has the ability to be explosive in the run and the pass game. And then Jerome, I mean, Jerome's not a spring chicken anymore. He's a veteran football player. He's been in the league. This is going to be his 4th year. So you do have that veteran presence, but also he can still work on things. Hopefully, he comes into camp stronger and
let
ready
me
to
cut you
go.
off though. He's going to be my surprise guy of the year. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I
And just
agree.
from knowing people that I know that know him, then how he is, how his work ethic is, I'm going to bet on the kid just because I know a little about him personally. I think he's gonna surprise a lot of people. I think he's hungry. He's a lot like Nick Chubb in a way too. From what Stump Mitchell said, he's very quiet. Like he's a lot like Nick in terms of just his mentality, his mannerisms. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That I think that's. Well, go ahead.
yeah. But yeah, I'm hopeful in the running game room, and again, if Quinshon misses, let's say a quarter of the season, which would be what, close to 6 games.
At least could be
Yeah,
more.
I'm just taking 6 as the average
I
because if
think you're
it's
probably have to
between
go.
5 and 10,
From what I've heard, I think you got to go into the season that he's just not gonna be there for most of the year. That's got
yeah,
to be your mindset. Like these are our 2 dudes right here.
yeah, and with Quinshon, if he comes in later in the year, just seeing what he's got, at least you'll be able to evaluate what your run game will look like moving forward. But I'm high on Samson. I think we'll be fine. And also, there is a decent amount of veteran running backs still out there if they feel the need that they have to sign somebody off the street. Running back's one of those positions that like there'll always be dudes available somewhere. And here, there's a lot of
Yeah. Well, this is a
you know
running back heavy. It's a running back friendly scheme too.
right.
So
And there's
guys
a
want
lot
to
of
come here.
dudes too on practice squads from UDFAs that aren't going to make the active rosters for a lot of these teams following training camp that
Yeah,
the Browns can sign. The Browns will have options if
they'll
they
find
feel like
somebody.
they need a third running back from somewhere. If Quinshon
Well,
Judkins isn't
I
being
think
selected.
too. I got a twist and put to this. Well, let's answer Hummel's question real quick. He said, "Mike and Joe, what kind of impact do you think that Kevin Stefanski's run scheme to have on these younger backs?" I think, Mike, that they'll fit. I think they'll fit well in the scheme. I think Kevin's gonna be a little more diverse, especially with Tommy Reese in there now.
Yep.
I think they'll add a little more, creativity in the run game. I think some more stuff out of the gun, more stuff in pistol. I want to see more stuff in pistol, honestly.
Mm,
I think we would do well in that. And I think too with these 2 backs, especially with Dylan Sampson, you can run a lot more screens. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Running back screens. We did a lot of with Kareem, obviously, because Kareem was really good at that. I think if they can get back to that, because they didn't have a lot of that last year. I didn't see consistently like where you have it early on in games. It was kind of like a lot of stuff last year, Mike, they called later in games because nothing else was working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like now, if they can get some consistency with that offensive line, they could run a lot more stuff. And obviously better quarterback play, but I think they'll have the better than they had last year for
I
sure.
mean, it's hard to do worse.
Yeah, hard to do worse than that. So, I mean, and I think too, I'm gonna say this: I don't think he's gonna start, although he may surprise a lot of people. I think Dylan Gabriel. I think Jersey Hits said something. You can use Dylan Gabriel in some packages that where you maybe like a wildcat, where like he's a threat with his legs. Like, why not use it in some ability, in some capacity? Like
Yeah.
some packages maybe around the goal line, or a third one or whatever. You know what I mean? a 2nd and 1. You maybe he can maybe take a shot downfield if it's open, fake the random play. Some type of there are a lot of different things you could do with him with his legs. Even if he doesn't start, why not use that running ability as a quarterback? You know what I mean? And I think we need to keep defenses on edge and off balance. We didn't do a lot of that last year. 23 and 2020, we kept a lot of defenses off balance, and we were at our best. And it opened up the run game, and our passing game flows off of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think. What do you think of that? I think why not use a lot more Dylan Gabriel? Amy doesn't start. Why not use him some packages? Use those legs and have that type of threat that a lot of teams use nowadays.
Yeah, I mean that could very well. The Stefanski's wanted to have a quarterback that can use his legs for a very long time. I mean that's the reason they went after Deshaun. That's the reason why DTR was drafted. I mean, they very well could with Dylan Gabriel. He's athletic, but not like freakishly athletic. But he can use his legs. Shador can also.
But Dylan's quick. He can move.
Dylan is quick.
Yeah, why not? I'm saying why not use that? You know what I mean? Not all the time, but in certain situations, I think it's something you could use because we never had it.
Right. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised goal line packages, little wildcat packages. I don't see why not. That's very Kevin Stefanski-esque.
Yeah, you bring in a guy like Tommy Reese to give you a little more creativity. I think Kevin wants to be more creative because Kevin is a very good offensive mind. I think he's just had a lot of inconsistency since he's been here. So with personnel issues, obviously. So I think if he has the right pieces that he likes, people that can just buy into what he's doing, I think he can get it to where, let's see what he can do. It's just like 2023, Mike. I mean, everybody wrote the season off when Deshaun was out. Here comes Joe Flacco off the couch. He got somebody that bought in, and all these guys bought into what he was doing, and look what happened. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, the playoff game, that was a learning experience. I think it was his first time being there for a lot of people, and they just lack of preparation. But still, we saw what they can do if you just get buy-in. You know what I mean? So
right,
you got guys that buy in, and you could be when you get guys that buy in first. You know what I mean? It's a team. It's like a team mentality. You know what I mean? It's a sacrifice. We can do a lot more creative things. Hey, let's put Dylan out there. It's more packed, which he's tried in the past. Remember, we had Jacoby Brissett. You know what I mean? When Deshaun came back, we paid Deshaun $230 million, and they still brought Jacoby out there in 4th-1 situations, throwing that pass. Remember against Cincinnati. So it's something he's tried to do. I think he'll want to do more of. Yeah, you got more thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, with the run game too, like I just kind of wanted to add on it, like adding somebody like Dylan Gabriel, where like you mentioned pistol earlier, got me thinking like, if you have a Gabriel or a Shador start at some point in the season, that would make more sense, and it would help out the team a lot because I mean, pistol, you want the quarterback to have the threat of the quarterback run or a quick pass or a handoff, right? It's the whole point of pistol. And with those two guys, you might have a little bit more of a threat to do that.
Well, I think, and I think it helps out everybody because I think we've tried to go under center with certain guys that could not drop back, turn their head, and locate coverage. And then we've had other guys that we tried putting in the gun that they just couldn't. They weren't good in the gun. You know what I mean? Or it just didn't fit our running game. Our running game wasn't as good in the gun at times, in my opinion, because our running backs constantly had to go side to side. They could never get a running start towards the line of scrimmage. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like the gun or the pistol solves a lot of that, especially if you're playing the younger guys where they're in the gun, right? Simplify it. They can see the defense in front of them. Everything's in front of them. And the running back is still behind and gets a running start to the line of scrimmage if you hand it off. So I think if you do more of that balanced look, and I could do a lot more RPO stuff even too, where I fake the pass. Why not throw a little screen out to Njoku, get back to those tight end screens we used to be so effective with. Like you could do a lot of things out of pistol that I think they should run more of. Because I think it just helps everybody. If you look at our personnel and our experience, our youth with the, you know what I mean? I think how I broke it down, I think it just fits the best for what we have.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I think it would help
not
out
all the time, but you know what I mean? Implement it more.
Yeah, and it gives our tight end. Our tight ends are so good at running like those curl whip routes, or that like are
just a little screen pad, little tight end screens. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Get him out. Get him the ball. Get him out in space. They can move. I mean, the Joku, he gets a lot of yak when he gets the ball. So get it. Yeah. Shout out to Tune In Sports. Go subscribe to Tune In Sports. Best Cavs content creator out there, Mike. Right.
Best.
Best. And covers all things NBA as well. Go subscribe to my man Tune In Sports. Good to see you, brother. Said salute. Parent John's in the house. What's up, Parent John? He said just won $650 today on FanDuel. Solid Sunday. What's up, guys? Look at you, Parent John. That's a round of applause. $150, Mike. You think you can win $650 on FanDuel?
No. I'll win at a blackjack table, but I as much as I love sports and as much as I analyze, read data, all that good stuff, for whatever reason, sports betting, because I got feelings and tied into sports. I love sports. I love my teams. If I'm betting on a Browns game, if I'm betting on a Browns game, I'm a homer.
The Browns will be playing the Chiefs in Kansas City at night, and he'll still pick the Browns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Tune. He said the Heartbreak Kid, Mr. WrestleMania, the showstopper, the main event, the icon, better known as Tune In Sports. Welcome on in, legend. He said Dylan Gabriel's the next Russell Wilson. Laughing, crying emojis. What do you think, Mike? Is he the next Russell Wilson?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna give him Colt McCoy, left-handed Colt McCoy. Sure.
All right, had left-handed Colt McCoy. So we touched on the running game. We touched on the O-line. How about, Mike? We just talked about the tight ends. How about the tight end, the receiving core? What's your outlook on that so far? To say, obviously, Jerry Jeudy was named a top 100 player in the NFL. I think he was in the 80th. I think he was 83rd overall in the top 100. So Jerry Jeudy obviously bounced back, had a pretty good year. It looks like the guy that everybody thought he was coming out in that draft. And
that's true. Yeah,
I expect him to be elite this year to take a next step. And I expect somebody in that receiver room's got to step up. I know everybody's picking Cedric Tillman. I like Cedric Tillman when he came out. I thought he would have been a higher draft pick if had he not gotten hurt his senior year in college. I mean, that was tough for a guy. I mean, you missed your whole senior year of college of injury, major injury, and then your first season in the NFL is coming off that injury with all the quarterback stuff going on as well. So it was a tough situation for a rookie for a rookie guy like him, coming off the injury like that, and then coming to assist the situation here. Last year, it looks like once that stuff settled down and Jameis took over, and the team just had a little more of someone were able to run plays of the offense they were trying to run with Ken Dorsey. He flourished. He just couldn't stay healthy. But if he stays healthy, I think he's a guy, Mike, that I think could definitely take the leap this year and be the guy that, if you had to pick a guy who's going to be the most improved player on the Browns this year, Cedric Tillman might be a popular pick.
Yeah, I mean, he showed flashes last year, like you were saying. I mean, the 3 games he was starting at wide receiver 1, and I know it's a very small sample size, before he got that just horrific concussion. I mean, 100 yards, 100 yards, 100 yards. And I think he had, 2 touchdowns through that, or was it 3? It might have been 3 touchdowns.
It was like 2 3.
Yeah, so he had, you and I have always agreed he had incredible upside. And
if you go look at his stats, not to cut you off, if you go look at his stats, his second to last year in college with Tennessee, he was 200 yards a game. He had 200-yard games, not 200 yards a game, but he had 200-yard games. He had some big-time games in the SEC against some big-time opponents. Like, the dude can play.
Yeah, and if he can build on that, man, and back in this scheme where they're going to use him as the X receiver, because really, as much as I love Jerry Jeudy, he doesn't have the size of an X. He's more of a Y or a slot guy. And that's where Jerry did line up almost all of last year. Cedric Tillman does have the body of an X wide receiver.
215 pounds.
Yeah. So
it was 3 touchdowns, 29 receptions, 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, 11.7 average on the receptions.
Yeah. So if he can build on that, and like he is anything like that, I mean, Cedric Tillman could be like on his way to kind of a breakout third year, where if like he has a great year this year, the Browns might be like forced to sign him, or at least like, really consider it, just because he does have the potential. I always thought he had the potential if he could stay healthy, stay on the field, and build on what he did last year. Having better quarterback play, I think it's going to be a huge thing for him. And again, we had the worst quarterback room in the NFL last year, and it was legitimately, it's in my mind, it's legitimately impossible to do worse than last year. So, with that, I think Cedric Tillman is going to be very good, very good. I think he's going to be surprising a lot of people. I think our wide receiver room is a little sneaky because we have a lot of guys that I think have pretty good upside.
Well, I got the room right here. You want to read it off real quick? David Bell, DeAndre Carter, Caden Davis, Luke Floria, the kid from Kent State. Jalen Gill, I remember him. He's in my class. He was like top player in Ohio. He went to Ohio State. Then he went to Fresno. Jerry Jeudy, Deontay Johnson, Kissian Johnson, I believe that's how you say his name. Gage, Lervadian, Cade McDonald, Jamari Thrash, Cedric Tillman, Michael Woods II. The guy I'm looking at, Mike, is Jamari Thrash. He was our draft pick. What round did we take him? Fifth round. Yeah, he looked pretty good when he played last year, I thought, in the preseason. He runs routes really well. You remember what Steve Smith said about him, how he just thought he was really natural. He was a really good route runner in college. I want to see Jamari Thrash used more. He's got a year under his belt now with the coaching staff and development. I think he needs to play a little bit more. What do you think about Deontay Johnson, Mike? Do you think he makes the team by week 1?
I think he'll make the team. I think he'll make the team just based off of they want more veteran talent in there. I don't know if he's going to be. I don't think he'll be starting. I can see him out there in packages. Honestly, David Bell's probably going to be relegated to the practice squad. Caden Davis is a practice squad guy. Michael Woods is a practice squad guy.
Do you think the Kent State kid can make the roster?
That's another name I was going to bring up as a potential roster spot. Now, I don't know. Him making the roster is just going to be a huge achievement. I know Browns fans like to overreact about UDFAs or practice squad or preseason wide receivers. We did that with Caden Davis a couple of years ago. Now, Caden Davis is great, but like he didn't make the team. He was a practice squad guy. Luke Floria has the potential to make the team, but if he does, I don't know if he's not going to be running routes anytime soon. He'd probably be a special teams guy. At most, maybe he can return a punt or a kick, and that would be a huge step in the right direction for the kid, just to get his name on the active roster. So he's a name to watch, but yeah, the big name is Jamari Thrash. I loved Jamari Thrash coming out of Louisville. I thought he had tremendous talent and had a potential upside. And Jamari took this offseason incredibly serious. He got stronger. He worked on his craft. I mean, he looks a lot bigger than he did last year as far as like muscle mass. He's moving quicker. He did contested catch drill, like drills constantly throughout the offseason, and it showed in rookie minicamp. I really think he's going to be a name to watch for the starting slot receiver position. And another thing that Jamari Thrash can do, which I think Stefanski really values, is Demetric Felton, if you remember him. Jamari can kind of do something similar. And Kevin Stefanski has been wanting that like Swiss Army knife role for this team for so long. He's very Shanahan-esque in that. He wants a Deebo Samuel, somebody like that, if he lines up next to the quarterback, you don't know if he's going to run a route. You don't know if he's going to get a handoff. What's he going to do? You don't know if he'll do a wide receiver screen, or he'll be back there as a blocker. Jamari got bigger, I think, to be a blocker, and he is happy doing that, being a blocking wide receiver. And I think we can see his role expanded on this year as kind of that Swiss Army knife role that Stefanski has been looking to fill, that they tried to with Felton, but I think Jamari has a little bit more talent and capability to do that. So I think it'll be really cool to see what his role might be this year.
Yeah, and to finish up the offense here, we're going to move on to the defense side of things before we get to the next step, our next part of the show. But tight ends, obviously, we touched on a little bit. Obviously, we expect a lot from David Njoku.
Best room we're going.
I know we're all very high on Harold Fannin Jr. I think both of them will get a. I think Harold will get probably a good amount of playing time this year. I see a lot of more of those 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets out there. I think both of those guys out there in the field at the same time, Mike, that's gonna be really dangerous because their ability to move.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a fun package to watch. Just those guys out there as a duo. So we're pretty high in the tight ends. Do you expect anything with the Njoku and contract wise out the field?
God, I hope so, man. I love David Njoku. I mean, I get that we're trying to get younger, and if Harold Fannin's a dude, like why the Browns might not sign David, but I really hope they keep David. David is a huge voice. Like in that Nick Chubb was like, a symbol of the city. He was a hardworking dude, great, one of the best Browns ever. But David's the same way, except he's vocal about it. Defends Cleveland, talks about Cleveland all the time. Will go on podcasts, talk about the Browns, talk about the team, defend the team. He's like a spokesperson for the Cleveland Browns, almost more so than Myles Garrett. And he's just that guy. And I think you need those big positive personalities in your locker room. And David's talent, I always thought, is great. I think his talent is so great that every time he has like an 800-yard season, which is good for a tight end, I'm disappointed because he's so talented. He should be doing better. But, I really hope, man. I don't know. There has been no tea leaves or whispers out there about David's contract situation. I hope they come to some agreement because that would be like a breath of fresh air and it make me exhale a little bit. And here, there's nothing wrong with having 2 great tight ends, especially when you're running Kevin Stefanski's scheme. So what if Harold Fannin's a dude? I think he's gonna be a dude, but like, have them both. You like to run 2 tight end sets, Kevin? Have 2 freakishly athletic tight ends. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Like I said, I could do all kinds of stuff with those 2 guys out there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's all about keeping defenses off balance. I agree with you, but also, Mike, it's important who's throwing them the ball. And obviously, we got to touch on the quarterback situation, Mike. We all know the room. We all know we've talked about it at length. I think, Mike, it's good. I think obviously the competition during camp, I think will come down to Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. I think they're definitely going to start one of the veterans, obviously, to start the season.
It's Joe Flacco.
Some people think it's going to be Kenny Pickett. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, I would go with Flacco just because I think he has more continuity out there. And I think at the end of the day, the young guys got to play. Like, you got to know what you got in these rookies this year because you have 2 first-round picks next year. And you got to know at least at some point if one of these guys can play in the NFL. Like, can they at least be a starter in the NFL? If not, then we're going to be looking for Cape Klubnik or something like that next year. So,
yeah,
I would go with Flacco, then Shador, and that's been the popular pick. I know some people think Pickett's going to be the guy, which I know Pickett doesn't turn the ball over, which I'm sure Kevin likes, and I think Pickett could run the offense, just be like just a point guard basically. But I don't know the upside there. Maybe, who knows? He might be the next Sam Darnold. That'd be great. I don't know, but I don't think he's as talented as Sam was, and I don't know. Who knows? He may surprise a lot of people. I don't know, but I think it's good. I would go with Flacco, Mike, because I think it's the easiest timeline that I can get. Get these guys out there, the younger guys, at some point, get them playing and rolling. The best case scenario for me, Mike, is if I think Shador has the highest upside still in that room. And I think if Shador can take over and have some similar success and have that same vibe and feel that Baker had his rookie year, I think that's a successful season, in my opinion.
Yeah,
for the quarterback position. Go ahead, Mike.
Yep, nope, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, if we walk away this season winning between 5 and 7 games, but you find that Shador or Dylan Gabriel, I'll say both.
Either one, yeah, maybe either one, yeah, and Dylan. But I say Shador.
I want Shador to be the guy.
More likely, but yeah,
I like
Dylan's the guy, though, I
better.
ain't rooting against if Dylan's the guy. I just wanted somebody to be the guy. Like, go
ahead. I hope Shador's the guy just because he's more of a vocal kind of personality, like more vocal leader than Gabriel seems to be. And you kind of need your quarterback to be an ambassador for the team as much as a player on the team.
Shador's already box office.
Yeah, exactly.
People are going to be tuning in to watch no matter what.
Right. So, I mean, you basically took every word right out of my mouth. So Kenny Pickett, yep, doesn't turn the ball over. That's why Kevin loves him. And I mean, maybe that's why they roll with him. But Flacco, I mean, knows the system well. He didn't even in minicamp, he didn't even do anything because he didn't need to, because he knows it all.
Joe Flacco,
So,
don't even do much.
and he's still got an arm. I know he'll turn the ball over a shit ton. He's Joe Flacco.
He's got the
But
biggest arm in that room.
he does. And
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna cut anybody, like cut Kenny, just because if you're gonna have a dude to start a few games before you try the rookies, have Joe Flacco. Because if somebody's gonna be sitting on that bench trying to help you, like with the rookies and like, hey, what you see out there, I'd much prefer former Super Bowl champion and 20 plus year league veteran Joe Flacco with the iPad over Kenny Pickett. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
at that point, like
I
whenever
got a
they
feeling
search the
though,
door,
because you just said that I feel like Kenny's going to go out there and be like the next Sam Darnold now because you said that.
yeah, wouldn't that be hilarious?
Yeah. You'll be like, okay. The guy
I mean,
used to
dog.
sit and dog. Now you're like,
No, at that
yeah.
point, I'd be like, I'd have the Vikings reaction where it's like, yeah, he was great, but too bad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe it. I like here. We don't know if Sam Darnold was a Linsanity run or not. He might suck in Seattle. He might be awful. We just don't know.
Yeah.
It's
But
one of those things.
I agree. But moving on to the defense now, Mike, real quick. We'll move a little quicker through the defense. Starting with the D line, obviously, that's we all know what we expect from Myles Garrett. Real quick, do you think Myles Garrett gets 20 sacks this year?
No.
Okay.
I think it's possible, but no.
Mason Graham, obviously. Alex Wright back. I think that's the guy everybody forgot about, Mike. I think Alex Wright, if he can pick it back up where he left off before that injury, he's a guy I think could be another bookend. He looked really good before he got hurt. I liked Alex Wright a lot. You can move into 3, you can put him on the outside. Very versatile on the line. This D line, I mean, Mike's got to be dominant. I think if Mason Graham could be the guy that we all think he is, obviously you got Mike Hall in there as well. You also brought in, was it Malik Collins? I believe his name. Yep. Very active guy and out there in San Francisco. The interior looks really good. I think that's been their problem at times is inconsistency in the interior, Mike. And I feel like if Mason Graham and all of them dudes can really get a lot of high pressure rate in the interior, and Mike Hall and Mason Graham are very talented guys coming out. So that interior could be really good here in 2 years if those guys can pan out, which I think they will, especially alongside Myles Garrett. You look at that room, Mike. You look at the front 7, obviously, with the linebacker room as well. Obviously, no JOK, but Carson Schweisinger, I know you're high on.
Very.
Jordan Hicks, I believe, is still here, isn't he?
Yep.
Still got Jordan Hicks. Jerome Baker, my guy, dude from Cleveland, Benedictine. So
Mahmoud Diabate.
Yeah, Diabate. I think, Mike, they got some upside in this front 7. Obviously, Devin Bush, he's got some stuff going on at the field, obviously, but Shelby Harris. I like that they brought back Shelby Harris, the vet. I think he'll help out a lot of guys. Yeah, he was pretty productive still too. Even some other guy like Jawan Briggs, even in the tier, who I liked coming out of Cincy. I think he was productive at times. And somebody coached Jawan and said he's just a good dude and a big dude. He could really stuff the run. Somebody that coached him in college. So, and he can move around a little bit too. So I look at this front 7, Mike. I see a lot of versatility. Obviously, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka as well, who they brought in. I liked him in Tampa. I think he can be something in the scheme with Isaiah McGuire as well. They draft. I think Jim Schwartz, in my opinion, Mike, has a lot of versatility in this front 7. A lot of athleticism and speed, and guys that can like to pursue the ball, obviously, and get after it. I think he'll have a lot of fun with these guys in the front 7 this year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love our linebacking and defensive line room. It's going to be the engine of the defense. Like you said, I'm super high on Carson Schwessinger. I think he's going to be a big part about what we do this year. And I can see why the Browns picked him where they picked him.
I just see a lot more athletic. I just keep
hard-nosed guys.
I just see a lot more athletic front 7, which I feel like we've lacked at times, where like guys that could really pursue the ball consistently sideline to sideline.
Yeah, exactly. And with Alex Wright back, hopefully he takes another step and he's well healed from that injury, because I loved Alex Wright coming out of UAB. I thought if he developed, he could be great. And, he's developed every single year. So hopefully he can play well enough to get that second contract. We'll see. Because Isaiah McGuire made a big case to start on that end as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we both agree that front seven's gonna be pretty active. I like that front seven a lot. I
Yeah.
just like that they have more speed. It's gonna come down to, I think, with obviously health, but I think the coaching with Schwartz and just having guys that are more athletic, a little more, they got some experience in there, and obviously the mix of youth as well. I think they can do some things in that front seven. But I think, Mike, it's all gonna come down to the back end. Obviously, that was, last year at times it wasn't as good as we wanted it to. Obviously, Martin Emerson and Greg Newsom weren't as good at times last year. We were all very high on. I was really high on Martin Emerson a lot. I still am high on Martin Emerson. I mean, he had a down year last year, but I think he can bounce back. Because I mean, here we saw what the guy did in the same scheme 2 years ago. He looked great. So I think last year a lot of the defense's problems were just they were gassed out. I mean, at times we're seeing guys get burned. I mean, even Denzel at times last year. Remember that Chargers game? He got burned a couple times. That's not like Denzel Ward to ever get burned, number one, but also miss assignments and miscommunications. I think the defense was just really frustrated last year. I think it showed. I think they were just pissed off at the offense, which they should have been. And I think it was just a messed up situation. I think the defense, if they could just get if they're not on the field as much, like I think that's what Miles was saying. You know what I mean? And when all that stuff happened in the offseason, Miles kept saying, if we just have a running game that can help us not be on the field as much, just what he was saying, because damn it, we need some more rest. That's why we're getting burned, because we were getting tired. And the defense had to carry the whole load last year. If that defense can have a consistent running game on the other side of the ball, and we can play more time in possession, like Miles said, just like in 2023, that back end should be a little better, Mike. Obviously, we know the corner spot really, obviously, it's just going to be, shit or get out the pot. We know what Denzel is. Denzel's an elite player. Denzel will be fine. Just, stay healthy. Greg Newsom, though, and to me, Greg and Martin Emerson, they got all the talent in the world. We've seen him play really good at times. Especially, I like Martin a lot. I said coming out of 23, I thought Martin was the second best DB on this team. Because I think I like his size, with his versatility, his physicality. I liked Martin. I like his range, long arms. But last year was a bad year. But I feel like if these two guys can bounce back, you got Cam Mitchell as well. So you got a nice 4 rotation on paper, right, of players. And then I look at that back end. I got Grant Delpit, Ronnie Hickman, who I like, Rashawn Jenkins, DeMonte Casey, and then you have Donovan McMillan. I feel like they should be better this year, Mike. I think that if they can I think the pressure up front from the front seven, which we talked about with the more athletic, I think they'll have more pressure this year, especially with that interior. I think that'll help them out a lot. And I think if they can just, maybe, and that may help them play a little more zone, because they can have more pressure. I mean, force quarterbacks to make quicker decisions, maybe throw the ball in the coverage, you know what I mean? All the things they can do. Schwartz likes to play a lot of pressure. But I feel like that, and obviously, if just don't get burned as much. Like, I just keep looking back to last year. I'm getting flashbacks right now thinking about it. I just keep seeing Greg Newsom and Martin Emerson getting blown by. I feel like if we could just be a little better in man-to-man and not getting – I feel like at times where our speed in the back end outside of Denzel was not where it needed to be. It didn't look like NFL speed. So I'm hoping with the front seven that this back end should be a lot better. And they won't be on the field as much this year, hopefully, with a better running game, just a better consistent offense, that these guys get back to where they were in 2023. Because remember in 2023, that back end had a lot of swagger. They were hitting. I mean, they were aggressive, deflecting a lot of passes. They were playing really well. But to me, that we'll see. My biggest question mark in this back end, Mike, not to ramble a little bit, but is the safety position. I feel like we've never had like consistent safety play, and that's why it's called. Safety is important. That's why it's called safety. Like, I think if we get a better free safety out there somebody that can really cover the, half of a field, even cover sideline to sideline. We haven't had that consistently. If we can find, I mean, do you think what's your thoughts on the safety room, Mike, and the back end in general? I mean, do you think any of these guys here can really, who's like the burner, obviously outside of Denzel?
I mean, the best true free safety that you have on the team Because Grant's the strong safety. He's going to be in the box. He's going to be helping stop the run game. That's always been his bag. That it will continue to be his bag in the NFL. I think DeMonte Casey, picking him up from the Steelers, he was their safety net for legitimately for forever, and he did that job very well. He's not great, but he's not bad. He's just a good, solid NFL safety. And I think Jim Schwartz, the only thing that he really asks of his safeties is, don't give up the big play, and that's DeMonte Casey's MO. So I think DeMonte Casey is going to have that role. Ronnie Hickman might grow into it, over time. He's still young. And
watching Ronnie at Ohio State, though, he did a lot of the same things Grant does down in the box. I mean, he was down in the box a lot at Ohio State, if I remember. So, that's my biggest question with his back end. I mean, I think the corners will be better this year, but I think they can get back to where they were. But the safety position is my biggest question. I wish we would have drafted a safety, honestly, but we didn't. So, and that's why I'm hoping. Going back to what we said earlier, Mike, if let's say Shador could be the guy going forward after the season, maybe next year I can use those 2 first-round picks. I got Caleb Downs coming out. Maybe I can go target like a real elite safety finally, which we have not had. So, again, I think the back end to me, Mike, will be as good as that front is. As good as and as long as the interior and those guys get a lot of pressure consistently, that'll help those guys out a lot. If those guys don't get they're in a game, Mike, where they're not getting a lot of pressure, I feel like we could be kind of screwed because we got some guys that, like I said, they're not. They get burned a lot. They're not I feel like our speed in that back end is not where it needs to be still personnel wise. But you go back to 23, we had a lot of pressure that year. We did pretty well. I mean, it helped those guys out a lot. I'm just not seeing that yet. Well, we haven't seen it yet, but we didn't see it last year. So hopefully we see that this year, and I think that'll help out that back end.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, with getting that pressure back up, I mean, Mason Graham, the whole reason you drafted him is to take some double teams away from Miles, stop the run, get pressures, which he was excellent at Michigan. I think, it's going to really, because he's going to be starting. Like, he has a starting role. You picked 5th overall. You got to be in the rotation at the very least, but got to start. And I think he's going to be a huge X factor if the Browns defense wants to see success like they had in 23 as well, just to put a little cherry on top.
Yeah, I agree. Shout out to our boy Dan, main host of The Fix with Chris Gerganis. That show's coming back here pretty soon, actually, right before football season. Being that we were a 3-14 team last year, it should be very hard to be better. He said Vegas over-under win total at 5.5.5. Second lowest projection in the NFL and second hardest schedule. We will be talking about next year's draft by week 8.
Suppose we'll see.
Could happen. Obviously, we're going to get into that right now. We'll finish up the show with this. So we'll start with Jerry Jeudy, Mike. Jerry Jeudy was on Club Shay Shay recently over the weekend, over this weekend, and he gave his biggest. What's his biggest goal for this season, Mike? I thought his answer was pretty interesting. Now let's take a look at what Jerry Jeudy had to say on Club Shay Shay. Or not, this isn't Club Shay Shay. This is Nightcap. I'm thinking of his other podcast. Shannon's got so many podcasts. No, this is Nightcap with him and Ocho. So here's what he said on Nightcap. Excuse me.
This season coming up, are there any
here we go.
Long-term, short-term, whatever it may be, numbers wise? You don't have to say anything specific. I just want to know what goals you have this upcoming season for you individually.
Honestly, one of my biggest goals for it is just having a winning season. That's something that I haven't really done since entering the league. Never reached the playoffs. That's one of my biggest goals. So having a winning season and be able to reach the playoff, that's something I'm truly working hard towards, and just being better than I was last year. I had a great season last year, finished 6th in receiving yards, and I'm still trying to chase that number 1 spot, and I ain't gonna stop till I get there.
So that was his response, Mike, to the question. He said his biggest goal this year is making the playoffs. I know a lot of people, like Dan just mentioned, that they don't expect the Browns to be close to a playoff team this year. But I'll pull up the schedule here, Mike. I know Dan said it was the second hardest schedule, I believe he said, and by Vegas. So
I don't buy that shit too much. I mean, here's the Commanders' win total was like over under what 6. Then they went to the NFC Championship game.
I mean,
Different
I get.
situations, but every year's different.
Well, I think every week in the NFL, it's the NFL. You're going against professionals every week. I think it is what it is. But looking at their schedule, Mike, obviously week 1 at home against the Bengals, week 2 on the road against the Ravens. So you open up with back-to-back division opponents. Back home week 3 against the Packers. On the road against the Lions. Back home on the road in London against the Vikings. And then you come back from London, you play against the Steelers on the road. You got the Dolphins at home, Patriots in New England, bye week at the Jets, home versus the Ravens, at the Raiders, home versus the 49ers, home versus the Titans, at the Bears, home versus the Bills, home versus the Steelers, and away versus the Bengals. So, Mike, looking at the schedule, could the Browns, by Jerry Jeudy said, I'm not saying this, by Jerry Jeudy saying what their goal is, obviously what he's saying, and I think the team, do you feel like this team, Mike, could somehow be a sleeper playoff team by any stretch, any way possible? Looking at the schedule.
I mean, I said from the beginning, best case scenario for this season that I'm looking at is like 9-8, and like it's not a. If you win the right games, you might be able to sneak in. There's always that one AFC and NFC team that sneak in with like 9 wins, sometimes less, but we're not. The AFC is a little bit stronger than the NFC when it comes to that. So at the very least, you're going to have to win 9 games. And I think we'll win week 1, lose 2.
Well, let's do it. Let's go down the hatch here.
Yeah.
We'll go game by game. So this is your yearly prediction, Mike, that everybody looks forward to. Last year, I know you had 13-4, and they went 3-14. But I love your optimism.
Well, that was if Deshaun actually worked out.
Yeah. Dan, there's a good chance that Jerry Jeudy never plays a playoff game in his career. We'll see. Let's go game to game here, Mike. So starting week 1 against the Bengals, Mike, the Bungles, Kentucky Bungles. Who do you got to win in that game, Mike?
The Browns. Bengals always start slow. Browns playing at home.
Yeah, I got a feeling. I don't think we're going to lose that game. To me, it reminds me of 2 years ago when they came here week 1. I just feel like the Browns. The Browns have these surprise games every year, and I feel like that's the one they'll win. I think Flacco, whoever it is, will have a nice game. I think they'll get it done. And the Bengals, they can't stop a nosebleed this year. So that defense, I don't know. Is Trey Hendricks even going to be there?
I have no idea. I know who's not. Shamar Stewart.
Yeah, he won't be there. So we both have a win week 1 on the road at the Ravens. Mike, what do you got?
Loss.
Yeah, I agree with that. We don't seem to play well there outside of the one time. Back home versus the Packers, Mike. Interesting game there. Obviously, you got Jordan Love and who's their coach?
LaFleur.
What do you think of that game, Mike, at home?
I think that'll be a surprise win. Still early in the season. Green Bay starts slow as well. They have some turnover, and they have a very young DB class, so it might be something to exploit. No more Jair Alexander. Their defensive line is so.
I'm gonna say, I want to say win, but I think the quarterback play will be kind of like okay the first 2 weeks. I think you'll just see either it's gonna be really old with Flacco, good enough but old. Okay but old, or with Pickett it's just kind of like mediocre. So I think by week 3 you'll start to see a little bit of a dip, and that's when the pressure will start to turn on about putting one of the rookies out there. So you're going to say win. I'm going to say loss. At the Lions, I'm going to say loss. Go ahead.
Loss.
Yeah. Okay. The London game, Mike. What do you got going there?
Depending on who we're starting at quarterback at that point, if it's still Flacco, I say win. If it's a rookie in their first start, I'll say loss. But I'm going to assume, since we're still 5 games in, it's still Flacco or a veteran, so I'll say win, because McCarthy, I mean, God knows what he'll look like, but he's their starting quarterback, and he's still probably figuring some shit out.
Who's their running back there?
Oh my God, his name is escaping me. Aaron
Jones.
Aaron Jones.
Yeah. I mean, it is in London. I don't know, man. That's a tough one, to be honest with you. I'll say you said a win.
Yeah, as long as we're starting a veteran still.
Yeah, see, I don't know about that. I'm going to say loss. At Steelers, I'm going to say loss. Go ahead.
I'll say loss. So I have them 3-3.
I have them 1 and what? 1 and 5. Dolphins at home are winning that. We're not losing to Mike McDaniel. I think the Dolphins will actually be kind of a decline this year. Go ahead.
I have us at a loss.
Against the Dolphins?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you give that guy too much credit.
I don't give the coach credit at all. I just think
you think spreadsheets is coming to Cleveland and beating the team.
I just
think weather's shitty.
I just think the run game, the receivers. I mean, I don't think he's a winning coach, but the offense is flashy enough, defense is okay enough. I think it might be a little bit too much. And by this point, I think we're starting a rookie as well. So I'm factoring that in.
That's my game where I think Shador comes in and wins.
Oh, really?
I think that's a perfect scenario for him. No Jalen Ramsey there anymore. You're going against spreadsheets out there. I mean, in Cleveland, he has no shot. I think that's the game where I think Shador comes in is against the Dolphins.
Really?
Yes, I think he comes in. I possibly because every time the Browns are in a low of the season and they have a shit loss in Pittsburgh, right? Which is what I predicted. I have them at 1 and 5 after that game. You have to make a change at that point. I think because every time we've lost in Pittsburgh, Mike, and the season's low, what's happened? We either fired a coach or changed quarterbacks. So might as well stay. I think that's where we make a change because now we have 2 weeks to evaluate going into the bye against two teams. I think you could beat the Patriots and the Dolphins. I think Shador beats that Dolphins team. I just think that the atmosphere will be so electric. I think he'll just have a good game. It's a good enough game to win. I'm not saying he'll play great, but I think I don't see them losing that team at all. But you say they lose.
Yep.
All right. On the road at New England.
That one I have as a win.
I want to say win, but I'm not going to say. I don't think Ravens is going to lose to them. So I want to say, but you say win, I'll say loss. We never play well in New England. I'll say that week we have a bad defensive game. Bye week, then back on the road against the Jets.
Win.
Win. I'm gonna say. I don't know. I heard Fields is looking really good this offseason. Like really good. You know what? Screw it. I'll say we'll win. Shador, New York. I'll say he wins. At home against the Ravens.
Loss. I think the Ravens sweep us this year.
Yeah, I think we'll lose that one. I think that'd be a tough game for a rookie quarterback. Could we win it? We always surprise the Ravens at home, but yeah. On the road at the Raiders.
Loss.
Yeah, we don't play well in Vegas. We go out there, we party, and we just don't focus. Yeah, we're screwed. Shout out to my man Trey Tucker, though. I'm going to say we win at home against the 49ers, Mike.
I have that as a loss.
I think we surprise them again. I don't know what what do you think of the 49ers now?
I mean, they're still going to be a competitive team. They've lost a ton of talent they can't afford. Right. It sucks for them. But I still think I don't think they're going to be. How do I put this? I don't think they're going to be like perennial, like a NFC championship caliber team for the foreseeable future. But I still think they're going to be like, they're going to make the playoffs every year. They're going to, noodle out at the second round of the playoffs or what have you. But yeah, they're definitely a worse. This is not the 49ers team of 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
I think we'll beat them again at home. I think, remember we surprised them 2 years ago? Yeah. I just feel like the weather's going to be shitty. I think Shador, the running game, can do a good enough job. I think the defense can get enough stops on Brock Purdy, which, I mean, Purdy's good, but he's not great to me.
Yeah.
And I saw, Jason McIntyre had him, in his top, 6 quarterbacks. So I'm like, that's crazy. But or top 10. I don't think he belongs anywhere near a top 10 list anymore. But I think we win that one. And then you have a loss. So right now, after that game against the 49ers, Mike has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 wins.
Yep.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have 5 and 12, or 5 and 7, excuse me.
Yep.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 wins. So I have 4 and 8. Yeah.
Yep.
At home against the Titans, the
Win.
Cam Ward versus Shador Sanders showdown, probably on prime time.
Win.
I think Shador wins that one too.
The Titans
I think if there's a game that's gonna be the game of the year for us, not for the season, but for the Browns, that's gonna be the game of the year right there. Those two in a showdown, prime time team. They'll probably get flex in the some prime time slot. But I think they'll win that one.
Yeah.
On the road at the Bears.
Win.
Really?
Yeah.
You're betting against your boy?
Yeah. I just that offensive line's still bad, man. Like I don't know what it is. Like maybe
what's their running back?
Shit. They drafted a cat. I can't remember.
The kid from Texas, right?
Yes.
If that O line's shitty for them though, and although PFF has their O line ranked like top 5, I think.
That's a lie.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say, I think Myles Garrett's gonna have a field day against that guy.
Yeah,
honestly. I think we win that one. I'm not picking him. Sorry, that's just me. I got a loss at home versus the Bills, Mike.
Me too.
I think we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike. I think at this point in the season, where do you think the Steelers will be at this point? We always split with them. I think we win this game. I bet you this game gets. I think
who's their backup?
I don't know, but this game I think is gonna get flex in the prime time too. By that point, good Shador, and I think we win at home against the Steelers. Do you ever win too?
Yep.
All right. And then I got us losing to the Bengals.
I do as well.
All right, so let me see here. So you were at what? We went at the
8-9, 500.
So you're 8-9.
Yep.
All right, I am at. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I was at what? 4-8. What, the 49ers game?
Yes.
Okay, so I have
6-11.
Nope, I have 7 wins.
Ooh, 7 wins. 7-10.
7-10 is what I got, which I'll take that.
Yeah.
If Shador's the guy, and I'll take. But I honestly, Mike, from that 49ers to the rest of the season, outside of that Bills game, I think that's where they could sneak some wins out, and who knows? I mean, I'm not saying they're making the playoffs. That's not what I'm saying, but I think they can, get on a little run, or maybe that's like if there's a part of the schedule, I think they can maybe get hot or win some games and surprise people, maybe win a couple games in a row. That might be that part of the schedule. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that part of the schedule, I mean, you're only on the road.
You're at the later part of the season. You know what teams are by now. You know what I mean? Like, teams are either shitty or they're playing for the offseason. Like, I don't know. It reminds me of 2018. There was that little stretch of that schedule, remember, where we kind of got a little hot.
Yeah.
Baker played well, and we almost made the playoffs. I think that could happen right here.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could. And like I said, I'm at 8-9. And here's the thing about my prediction is you can flip one of my wins into a loss for a 7-11. And as long as Shador looks good or one of the rookies looks good, I'm going to consider that season a success. And if you flip one of those losses I have to a win, possibly against the Ravens or another AFC opponent, to a win, and then now you're at 9-8 and you have a decent schedule against your home conference, you might be able to sneak in the playoffs. So, which would be again a success considering your quarterback room. So, I'm cautiously optimistic for the season. Like I'm trying to be realistic.
I think the best case scenario from what I put out there, I think I mean, I gave him the win against the Bears, but I could
Yeah.
see them losing that game, going 6-11.
Yeah, I can see
But,
them losing that.
Dan in the comment, he had win versus Bengals, loss of Ravens. He gave all his predictions.
Cool.
But he had 5-12 improvement from last year, Kevin's last season. He said so he has Kevin getting fired after the season, but he has 5-12. So, but I think the best case scenario for
Dan
me is,
always says Kevin's going to get fired. It's every year. It's like a tradition now.
well, to me, I think the best case scenario, like I said, is a repeat of 2018. That's the best case with Shador or Dylan, although I think Shador. And you almost, you know what I mean, you would 7-8 games, which I have at 7, but I could totally see him being a 6-win team. But yeah, that's our predictions, Mike. I mean, so last year was we're a little higher. This year, a lot different. But I think that to me, that's their best case scenario is 2018, a repeat.
Yeah. And the nice thing too is, as fans, we're going into it with low or no expectations. So I think with whatever happens, it'll still be a fun watch. You know what I mean?
Well, every week's gonna be interesting because of the quarterback situation. I mean,
Exactly.
I don't. But to touch on that, though, we'll close up with this, and leave your guys' prediction in the comments as well. You see, Dan's here 5-12. I had 7-10. Mike had 8-9. Dan said, "When does our third round pick Gabriel start?" I don't think he starts at all this year, Mike.
No, I think it's going to go Flacco, Shador, and Gabriel.
I think Shador should beat him.
Yeah,
but if he doesn't, then we'll see him. But I'm assuming Shador's going to outplay him and beat him.
It all
But
depends
if he
what happens
doesn't,
in camp.
then Gabriel. But who knows? But here's what I did say this earlier on the show, Dan. I think we do still use Gabriel this year in packages because he's mobile with his legs. I think you can use him in certain like short yard distance, situations, maybe goal line stuff. I would utilize him still with just his running ability, and he can still throw the ball. I think you could see him in some of those like certain special, like I said, short yardage goal line packages, red zone stuff. I would use him in some of that. Why not? I mean, we need all we can get. We need to use all we have to be a threat in some way. He drafted a holder. So we drafted a field goal holder in the third round, Mike. Oh man, I still don't get that pick, Mike.
I wasn't a fan of it either.
Yeah, I don't get it. But we'll wrap up with this though, Mike. What's your thoughts on this regime right now? I mean, I know you're a lot higher on it than probably myself and Dan, but what to you, what's their best case scenario for them? What's the worst case scenario for them this year where they could possibly lose their job?
I mean, I really don't know, to be honest. Like, unless there's like chaos in the locker room and they're just not like holding it down, maybe that could start something. But I mean, Haslam has been very clear, and all reports have been very clear that this year is an evaluation year, and record isn't really going to be all that important as long as they see like some sort of progression when it comes to like the young guys. And I don't just mean the quarterbacks; I mean the rest of the draft class as well. So I the only way I could see this getting like ugly for at least the regime is if like, oh, like shit's going on in the locker room, people are like talking shit in front of cameras about Kevin or Andrew or what have you. Maybe then it gets a little uglier. But really that's the only situation I see, at least from everything I've read.
I think Kevin's safe no matter what. I think the players, from what I've heard, like Kevin. I think when I've heard Jerry Jeudy on that podcast I played earlier, spoke highly of Kevin. Miles spoke highly of Kevin all offseason still. The issue with these guys have is with the front office. And I agree with the front office. I agree with that. I don't agree with a lot of stuff this front office has done. I don't think the front office has a good relationship with a lot of players from some of the stuff they've done. I don't think they come off pretty well with a lot of players around the league. I think ownership is taking care of players by paying them, but not the front office. That's the ownership. So I think the front office is on the hot seat. I think if they don't get it done this year, if the team looks like the personnel's not as good still, or maybe, the Dylan Gabriel pick looks like a waste, or they couldn't find a quarterback at all to even be solid, I think the front office to me could still be on the hot seat. I think, and here we don't know what's going on with Paul DePodesta either. Really the president of the football operations. They can call whatever they want, but and I've been obviously grilling on him for a year. But and nothing against the guy, but I just don't think he should be running a French football franchise. I don't think he has any. He has no reason to be running a football franchise with the power he has. I mean, I guess he's the face of sports analytics, but we've seen the results of his success here. Well, whatever, no success, but we've seen the results of that here in Cleveland. Not great. So I don't think he said the NFLPA report cards from the Browns players got almost as burned in the media as the Epstein logs. Yeah, those report cards are not pretty. But I think I'm looking at this front office here. I think Kevin's still very well respected around the league. I think Kevin is a good coach. I don't think Kevin's just been in a bad, which he signed up for. But I don't think I think he's been in a bad situation. I don't think Kevin's had the full autonomy to do what he wants to do at times, which you've heard reporters that know him well say that last year, like Aditi Kinkabwala and other people who are very respectable. He's never had the full autonomy to do what he wants, and that's I could imagine being a coach, and I know coaches at high school and they hear that. I mean, if I told them that, they would probably be like, "I'd quit. Like, it's a waste of my time." So I think it's tough in the NFL, obviously, because you want that NFL job. It's his first NFL head coaching job he's ever gotten. You know what I mean? And he had success his first year. He's made the playoffs. This 23. He's won Coach of the Year awards, but he's had success here. I just think he hasn't had the full on time to do what he wants. I hope this year Kevin has the full reins and we can finally really see what Kevin is. Because I don't think we really have. I thought the first year he had it, but I feel like this year, because I feel like the first year they had to let him do it because Baker had to work. And I thought Kevin did a nice job and he had a really good staff. But I just don't as time has went on and the ownership meddling in with the Deshaun situation, which he admitted in the statement he put out about Deshaun, how they forced Deshaun basically on them, on the coaching staff. And all the stuff that's happened since then. He hasn't had stability to work with and from the people that you should trust. And so, and even like the how they went about the draft with the quarterbacks, taking a Dylan Gabriel and a Shedeur Sanders, and the way they went about that, even threw a lot of people off. So, to me, the front office is on the hot seat. I'm not sure. I think there's one. I think Kevin's gonna be safe no matter what, because I think whatever GM, if they did replace that or whatever front office changes they made, I think those guys would come in and probably keep Kevin. I think Kevin's respect, because I think a lot of guys from the outside see the problem, which is this guy has no autonomy that he should have, and he's dealt with a lot of bullshit since he's been here. I think he's managed the best he could. Could he be better? Now, he's not a perfect coach by any means. I think sometimes his in-game managing decision-making can be better, which I think that's fine for, a younger coach, first-time head coach. I expect that. So I can deal with that. You can learn from that. I think he's a guy that will learn from that. He's a guy that I think will be constantly evolving. I think he's a smart enough guy and a good dude. So I just think he's had a lot of crap he's had to work with here. I don't think, like I said, I don't think he's a bad coach, but I also don't know how good of a coach he can be, Mike, because I don't feel like he's been in the right structure here to evolve because of some of the bullshit he's had to put up with. I just think from a head coaching perspective, and like I said, I can criticize him on a lot of different things, but he can get better from it. It's not terrible things. Like, I think he does a lot of things well. I think but the players really like this guy and they stayed up for that guy and they didn't quit on him in 23. I think last year they didn't quit on him. They quit on the organization because of the bullshit that was going on. So,
Kevin quit on that season too. He gave up play calling.
I couldn't. Yeah, I kind of don't blame the guy because it's like I can't coach my team the way I want to. He didn't. They made him fire Alex and Pelt, made him fire Stump Mitchell, two excellent coaches, and then obviously Bill Callahan wanted to go coach with his son, but they didn't even try to stop that. It was a complete shit show that offseason. I think Kevin got thrown on the bus a lot, and the more, if you guys have watched my channel, I've uncovered the San Diego Browns is what I call them, with Paul DePodesta and his influence on this organization. I just don't see how. If I was Kevin Stefanski, I'd be pretty pissed. I'd be like, hey man, let me do my job fully. So I think Kevin will be fine no matter what. I think Kevin's the best thing Kevin can do this year is develop one of these rookies to be the guy. If he does that, I think you keep him. Because I think, and especially with where they're at as a team right now, if he develops Shedeur Sanders, Mike, to be a franchise guy coming out of the season, that's pretty impressive. I think to me, that's good enough. Let's move forward, and let's start building a team around what you want, coach, and personnel, and your system, and the quarterback, right? So, but to me, the front office, to me, I'm not as high on the front office. I don't like their philosophies, how they go about things. I just don't. I don't. The vibe I get from the players around just from what they say publicly and some of the stuff you see behind the scenes and read, I don't think their relationships are as good with players, taking care of players. Doesn't sound like every player we've brought in, a lot of guys we brought in leave here disgruntled, and I think that says a lot. So could they change it? Yeah, but they're on the hot seat to me, and I think if Jimmy Haslam gets to the end of the season and feels like, okay, we got a quarterback that Kevin developed, but we still maybe need somebody to come in here and be maybe a president, maybe get a real football president here, which I've been saying for a while, which I know Jersey's been saying. Somebody that can really evaluate talent and really help, kind of like a John Dorsey again, but in maybe a different way. Maybe they can collaborate with. Maybe you don't fire Andrew Berry, but maybe I think down the road they got to bring that in here eventually. They need a real president of football operations in there. Like maybe you keep Andrew and collaborate with Andrew. And maybe Andrew, in a lot of ways, has been kind of just a middleman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Between DeBodesta and for DeBodesta and Haslam. I mean, he actually didn't want to make the Watson trade, which we learned. It was Haslam that said, no, I want it done. So he had to listen to the boss. What's he going to do? Say no? So he got fired. So I don't know. That's my take on it. I think Kevin's going to be good no matter what. Unless, I mean, the only way Kevin loses his job to me, Mike, is if the quarterbacks are all like just horrifically shit this year. Then I think you got to evaluate it. But I don't think that. I think Kevin just he hasn't had full on time to do what he wants here. And that's why I kind of backed off the guy a lot last year, because I started to look into it behind the scenes and stuff you hear. I'm like, man, he deals a lot of bullshit. Like just
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of the reasons why he won those Coach of the Year awards, not because of the success the team had that year, but because I think people thought that know what he goes through behind the scenes. A lot of reporters get a lot of insight. They're probably like, man, that guy did that with all those circumstances. That's pretty impressive. So, but yeah, that's my rant there, Mike. Sorry about that. But Dan said Kevin Stefanski career record, 40 wins, 44 losses, so almost 500. No division titles and winless in playoffs. I don't think he's a bad coach, but he's never taken you anywhere either. JB Bickerstaff at the NFL. And that might be true. I mean, Dan, you might be right. And I think that's a fair evaluation, obviously. No division title. He's got to win a division. You know, in the playoffs, he had to win against the Steelers, obviously, but not a divisional playoff win against the Chiefs, and then lost. I know he was in the basement and for the Steelers game. So technically, on the sideline, he's winless. But and I thought the Texans game, they were unprepared. You know, I know Stub Mitchell said that he was on the coaching staff. He said there was just a lack of preparation that week. And the way they got guys ready, they rested guys too much leading up to that game, where guys weren't really ready and they didn't practice as much. I've heard that was a learning experience as well. So hopefully he learns from that if they ever get back to that point. But he might be the JB Bickerstaff at the NFL. I don't know. I think this year, Mike, we'll really find out what he really is. Like in terms of, like this year, he really has to coaching's got to be like at an all-time elite level for them to have any type of success. So, but to me, like I said, Mike, and I'll let you know me in the ramp, I'll hand it back to you. But I think if he could develop one of these quarterbacks to be the guy moving forward, to me, that's his biggest win he can have as a coach this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And kind of to close my remarks, I'd just say, I agree. I think the biggest thing is going to be just quarterback watch, see how Shador does out there when he starts, see how some of these rookies are looking. I'd love to see Mason Graham, see if he's a dude, Carson Schwessinger, see if he's a dude. It's just all going to be evaluating personnel.
He has a nice coaching staff too, by the way.
He does. I really like.
I know people that work with Tommy Rees that
really like the Tommy
rave about Tommy Rees.
I really like the Tommy Rees.
Yeah, I mean they got some really good. Mike Bloomgren, very highly thought of by some people I trust. So that developed linemen for a living and played in the NFL. So I mean, and these people were actually trained by Bill Callahan as well. So I just don't. I see this coaching staff as a pretty good coaching staff. We know the defensive side of the ball. I think Schwartz has a pretty good staff over there. And I think this staff, and offensively, Mike, that they brought in, I like the coaching staff a lot. So he's brought in a nice coaching staff. What do you think, Mike, about the full autonomy thing? That we've heard that question obviously a lot. We've seen it at times. It looks like it by the reports when you watch the games. Do you think Kevin will finally have more of that full autonomy this year? Because the expectations are low this year.
Yeah.
So will they kind of let you, like you said, you think it's gonna be an evaluation year? Do you think maybe this is a year where they kind of let Kevin just go out there and do his thing fully, like with everything?
Oh yeah, I think that. I mean, we had an episode on the show. Go back and check it out, folks, where we talked about this closer to the end of the off season, right before the draft. We talked about it, and everything we read is they are giving the coaching staff pretty much full reign to do as they want, game plan wise, playbook wise, and some personnel wise as well. So, from all intents and purposes, from what we've seen, that is exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and it looks like it by the as soon as the season was over, all the people they made him bring in, he threw them all out of the organization. So got rid of them. So it looks like he's getting back to what he wants to do. I hope he has a full autonomy because I want to see what this guy can do just to be a regular head coach, like we expect, not having the ownership and front office and analytics sitting there trying to tell you, hey, let's bring and hire these guys, run this system, and build around this player we paid all this money to and all this shit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and he's like I said, the only 2 years they made the playoffs were the 2 years where I thought he had the most full autonomy. 2020, everything was pretty good. You know what I mean? He came in here with full autonomy, had a plan, had a great year that year. 2021, Baker gets hurt, and they ownership, and in my opinion, front office forced Baker out there to play because they had to evaluate him because they had to decide on him. And he had a hurt quarterback out there playing with a bad shoulder who didn't even practice a lot of week during those lean up to those games. I remember the Packers game, Stump said they flew him in on the game day, Mike. Didn't practice all week. Threw him out to the fire on national television. So that was out of Kevin's hand in 2021. 2023 or 2022 signed Deshaun. The roster was kind of in a transition. Your quarterback you signed didn't play for 2 years and was suspended most of the season. It was a weird year. Okay, whatever. But again, that was forced on by ownership. And then the defense was bad too. Andrew Berry put out a bad defense that year. We know that. So 2023 though, once Deshaun got hurt, and once he got hurt, they're actually still a decent team at that time. But here comes Joe Flacco. It's somebody that fits Kevin's scheme. And that's the point in the season was like, Kevin, do what you got to do. They had a pretty good year. I would say had a bad playoff outing. They got to be better there. And then last year, it was back to ownership in front office, trying to force the offense, like we said, putting certain coaching staff out on the field and run this off all around one player. And it was an absolute disaster. So I feel like, Mike, now we're back to, and like it flips every year, Mike.
Yeah.
So, I feel like now we're back to maybe this is Kevin's year again, and maybe we'll see what they can do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So I don't know. That's just I look at the 5 years since he's been here, Mike. It's just like 1 year it's good, 1 year, the next year it's not. And I think a lot of the bad, Mike, it's not really his control. I mean, I'm not saying he's a perfect coach by any means. I'm not saying he's even a top 5 coach in the league at all. He could be better in a lot of areas that I can point out. But I give him some grace because I know what he deals with. And I just think if I'm a head coach, man, that's pretty tough to deal with. So let's see what he can do now this season. But I'm willing to give him a chance.
I agree.
Shout out to Uncle Kev. Let's get it done this year, bud. We're actually rooting for you, Kev. We want you to be successful here, Cleveland. Mike will come mow your lawn, right, Mike? Like my dad always says.
I'm sure it's a very big lawn, though.
Yeah, get you a tractor. Let's see. Dan said Haslam got a $600 million for the stadium and bought his $25 million house right afterwards. He may not even watch a game this year, just be watching which quarterback we are taking with our first pick in the first round next year. Your thoughts, Mike?
I mean, could be.
Very well could be. I think he's invested in the Shedeur Sanders, though. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. Honestly,
I
think Shedeur Sanders he's banking on that working out.
I think he is too, because he's seen a lot of that revenue. And, I think he's banking on Shedeur. Because not only that, if Shedeur is the guy, let's say, now I got 2 first-round picks, I can go get Caleb Downs maybe. I can go, I can do all kinds of things. I can be a little more aggressive too in that first round and go target another position.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to need if Alex Wright and Isaiah McGuire aren't the dudes, you're going to want another young, athletic defensive end. Because, here, Myles Garrett's going to be great through this next contract, but you got to start looking at succession plans there too. I know that seems like a weird thought. The Browns without Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead. I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, fine. You were breaking out a little bit, so I didn't hear you start talking.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I just thought of this. Do you think, because going off of what Stump said, back in 2020 when we drafted Jedrick Wills, right?
Mm-hmm.
The great Bill Callahan had Tristan Wirfs, who I thought was the best O tackle in that draft, had him as the top guy on his board. And the coaching staff had him as the top guy on the board because of Bill Callahan, the collaborative with Kevin, obviously, I'm sure. They had him as the top guy, right?
Yeah.
They still went out, the front office still went out and took Jedrick Wills. And we see how that panned out between Wirfs and Wills. Clearly, the coaching staff, the guy who knows what he's evaluates the crap every day and coaches it, was clearly correct. And they probably should have listened to him on that scenario. But we went with the analytics instead, it sounds like. So, is there a scenario you think where maybe Kevin and his coaching staff, I'm sure they probably had maybe a higher grade on Dylan Gabriel, and I'm sure they had a nice grade on Shador too, because I know Kevin spoke highly of Shador through the whole process and his connections, obviously, with Shermer and everybody. Do you think there's a scenario, Mike, where the front office took who they wanted in that 3rd round pick with Dylan Gabriel? That seems like somebody they would pick, another DTR kind of guy, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's
that last pick there in the 5th with Shador's fallen, and they knew nobody was going to take him, and he's sitting there in the 5th round. It was maybe more Kevin, and really ownership, like, you know what, let's take that guy who they want, who I want to. I'm sure ownership was. I mean, hell, they freaking flew out there to Colorado at the pro day, and they had everybody there.
Yeah.
So they got to know him really well. They went out, took him out to dinner and everything. So what's your thought? You think that scenario, that sounds like to me what played out?
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that. I think they gave the coaching staff their pick and DePodesta's little side their pick. And, Shador is like a coach's quarterback. You know what I mean? So I think you hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah, because to me, Dylan seems like a front office pick, and Shador seems like more like a coaching staff, ownership pick.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Gabriel, I don't see Kevin picking Gabriel at all. He doesn't fit his system at all. Kevin's not picking a short quarterback. He's not, I mean, it's analytics. It's just like when they took DTR. He's a left-handed DTR. And
Pretty
that's
much
all he is. And yeah. He said, I think Gabriel's was Stefanski's pick based on accuracy. I don't see Shador has the 2nd highest accuracy.
Shador is the most accurate quarterback ever in college football history.
I think Shador would, or Stefanski would have went more Shador with accuracy, because Gabriel, a lot of his stuff was layups. It was more of the system and playing at Oregon. And he was good, but I think Stefanski, would side him, and plus the connection with Shermer in that offense, I think he would side him more with Shador. What do you think?
I mean, no.
I'm sure he had I think they had a higher grade on Gabriel maybe than other teams, but I think the way he was talking about Shador throughout the whole process and still does.
Yeah.
I think that was his guy all along.
Yeah, and when it comes to accuracy, like Shador is the most accurate quarterback in college football history by the numbers. So if we're going just based off of accuracy, then yeah, Shador is the more accurate quarterback. So I would pin that on Kevin.
He said they should start giving Shador some reps outside of the 4th-string offense. Then he's throwing the guys now that will be selling cars come September. Yeah, Mike, what do you think of that? I mean, that was kind of odd to me. And off-season, I don't know why. What's your thoughts on all that with him warming up with the 4th-string or practicing with the 4th-string? Excuse me. What do you expect here in training camp?
Well, I mean, in minicamp, they were all switching reps. I mean, so Gabriel threw to 4th-string guys too. Hell, so did Kenny Pickett. I mean, Shador got 11 on 11 time with the first team, second team. I mean, that's just what rookie minicamp is. You know what I mean? They switch everybody out, and it's just minicamp at the end of the day. I mean, we'll see the full picture during training camp, and if that's happening in training camp and he's not getting ample looks, then I'll start showing some concern. But it's minicamp. They were moving everybody around. I'm not going to make a big hullabaloo about it yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not yet. I think Gabriel probably got more reps because I think Gabriel played 3 different offenses in college.
Yeah.
I think he has a little more experience than Shador. He may be a little more advanced than Shador in some of those areas because of that. Shador only played for his dad at Colorado and, obviously with Jackson State. But he played for Pat Shermer for a couple of years, NFL guy. But I think I could see Shador naturally. It's not a bad thing. Maybe need a little more time picking up reads, getting used to the NFL game. So speed's a lot different, you know what I mean? And so I think Gabriel will probably have familiarity with some of the playbook a little bit more. But I think Shador maybe needed some time to go take more baby steps. And kind of maybe that's what why they went about it the way they did, was kind of, hey, let's just get him acclimated with the system first. Like, let's just get him slow, step by step. I think
see what he knows, see what what's coming naturally as far as plays.
I expect when they have the joint practices, he'll be getting some first team reps.
I agree,
because that's when you're going to find out, hey, what are you made of? And
we have two joint practices this year, which I think
they did that for a reason,
right?
Last year we still have one, right?
Yeah.
So I think they did it for a reason with two, because they need those. That's when they're going to throw those guys out there and be like, okay, let's see what you can do against these guys. Yeah, I think they'll get him probably this week. Slowly, you'll start to see more. And I think it'll be a different tone come training camp. I expect that. It should be. So like I said, I think when they had shirts and shorts on back 2 months ago, I think that was more of just, it's kind of like at any sport, any level, like college, high school. And we did it in high school. It's more of your installs in that time of the year. You're learning. It's all about learning the plays, installing. Right. Here's what you need to do here. Here's how you read this. So here's how you read this situation. How we process this. Here's what we're thinking. It's all that type of shit. So that's why Flacco didn't practice some of his because you think Flacco needs to learn all that? No. So he's been around the league for how long? Shador does though. So, but Gabriel, I think that's where one advantage he has. He's played in different systems. So I think that's going to help him a lot. So, but I think, with Shador, he's got to learn this system more, the pro, playing under center, get used to that stuff. So, which he's said he's got to grow in that area. So, I think that's all that was. I expect him to get first string offense reps, especially in those joint practices. And I think that's going to be, everybody's going to tune in to see what that looks like. So, I can't wait to see it. He said, what week is Deshaun making his return? Never. I don't think he's not even physically can't even play this year.
Correct.
Because he tore it again. Yeah, he's out for the whole year anyways. But we'll talk about that after the season, if that's still a thing. But yeah. Well, Mike, you want to tell people need to like, subscribe, and share?
Folks, thank you all so much for joining us this fine evening. If you were new here and you enjoyed the show, I hope you liked the stream, and I hope you could subscribe to us. It helps us out a lot. We are on our road to 500 subscribers, trying to hit that before the season, and we are also on our road to 1,000 subscribers, at which point I am getting a tattoo, and we'll live stream it. It'll be fun, funny, all that good stuff. The whole tattoo will be live streamed. If you know of anybody who would like this, please share this content. It's free and it helps us out a lot, like we were saying. We are your one-stop shop for NFL, NBA, mental health, and just good old life content. So just a couple guys trying to get where we want to go. And we appreciate everybody who's joined us on the ride. And thank you all so much for whoever commented and joined our conversation this evening. We love you all very much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Like, subscribe, share all the good stuff. Hold on, Mike's going to go again. Round of applause. But yeah, like Mike said, like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. And what are you doing, Mike? Are you saluting? We're getting out of here.
I'm not doing a handstand this evening. I'm doing jumping jacks and saluting at the same time. One-armed jumping jacks. You can't hear it, you can't see it, but I'm doing them.
He's doing it. We'll see you guys in the next one. We're out of here.
Later.